The rain was falling lightly over the small town of Riverstone, the kind of drizzle that left the streets glistening under the neon diner signs. The night quiet, but not dead. The hum of passing cars blending with the soft hiss of rain on the pavement. Inside the Silver Owl Diner, a warm glow filled the windows. The smell of grilled onions, coffee, and pancakes floating through the air. And sitting alone in the corner booth by the window was a man who wanted nothing more than peace. Steven Seagal, calm, silent, hands wrapped around a steaming mug of black coffee, eyes watching the rain slide down the glass. He had come here simply to breathe, to think, to enjoy one evening without chaos. The waitress, Emma, refilled his mug with a shy smile. "You're always so quiet, Mr. Seagal. Never trouble, never noise. Wish everyone who walked in here was like you." Steven nodded politely. Just a small, almost invisible smile. "Peace is rare. I try to keep it when I find it." But peace, as always, had predators. The diner door slammed open, the bell rattling violently above it. 6 men walked in, boots muddy, leather jackets soaked with rain, laughter loud and sharp, voices tearing through the calm. Local trouble, the worst kind. Their leader, a tall, thick-muscled man with a scar running across his cheek, stepped forward first. He went by Crane, a man known for dragging people out of the bar by their collars, known for beating men in alleys for fun, known for wrapping a rope around anyone who crossed him. Literally, his signature move. Tonight, he was drunk, angry, searching for a target. Emma froze when she saw them, fear flickering across her face. "Don't worry," Steven said quietly. "I'll take care of myself." Crane scanned the diner, his eyes landing on Steven, his lips curling into a grin that spelled danger. Well, look what we got, boys. Tall, quiet Mr. Monk over there, sitting like he owns the place. Alone, not talking to nobody. Ain't that suspicious?" His gang chuckled, a sound that made the customers sink lower in their seats. But Steven didn't look up, didn't turn, didn't waste breath. He simply sipped his coffee. That silence, that calm, that lack of reaction infuriated Crane. He stomped across the diner, his boots stuttering against the tiles, stomping right beside Steven's booth. "You deaf old man. I'm talking to you." Steven slowly lifted his eyes. Cold, calm, depth, staring right back at the gang leader. "I heard you. I simply chose not to respond to nonsense." Crane stiffened. Gang members exchanged wide eyes. Emma gasped softly. Crane leaned closer. "Too close. This is my town, my diner, my rules. And nobody sits in my diner ignoring me." Steven responded quietly. "Respect works both ways. You didn't offer any, so you received none." Crane's jaw clenched. His eyes darkened. A dangerous smile forming. "Oh, you got a smart mouth. Let's see how smart you are when you can't breathe." Before anyone could react, Crane pulled something from his jacket. A thick, coarse rope. Dark. Knotted. Heavy. Emma screamed. "What are you doing?" Crane ignored her. His gang blocked the exits, shoved the few customers back into their seats. Steven didn't move, didn't twitch, didn't blink. Only watched Crane with that silent, deadly calm. Crane wrapped the rope around Steven's throat, pulled it tight, yanked with all his strength. The diner erupted in chaos. Emma screamed. A couple dove under their table. 2 old men at the counter covered their heads. The cook yelled for someone to call the police. But Steven, even as the rope dug into his neck, even as Crane pulled tighter, still didn't resist. Crane snarled. "Look at him, boys. Look how easy he goes down. Thought he was tough. Thought he was something. He's nothing. Just another old man." He pulled tighter, the rope cutting into skin, veins rising in his own forehead from effort. Steven's eyes never left his. Crane shouted. "Come on, old man. Fight back. Do something. Give me a challenge. Let me enjoy this." Steven's voice came out steady, even with the rope pulled tight. "You're making one mistake. One big one. Inch." Crane laughed. "What mistake? You're not even fighting back." Steven's eyes narrowed. "You think this is the end, but it is only the beginning. Because you forgot one thing. I don't fight until I choose to. For a moment, just a moment." Crane's smirk flickered. Then he growled. "I'll strangle you till you turn blue. Till your eyes pop out. Till you collapse on this damn floor." He pulled harder, the rope digging deeper. Emma sobbed. "Please stop. Please." He didn't do anything. Crane's second in command. Tristan laughed. "Shut up, girl. He asked for it. Sitting there all calm like he's better than us." Steven's fingers moved. Relaxed. Precise. Iron calm. Crane noticed. Too late. Steven reached up. 2 fingers. That was all. 2 fingers slid beneath the rope, creating just enough space to breathe. Crane blinked. What? How? No way. I'm pulling with everything I got. You should be choking out right now. You should be done. Steven's voice steady, unbroken. You only choke a man if he allows you to. Crane pulled harder, veins bulging, face reddening. Steven finally stood slow, effortless, like he wasn't being strangled at all. Like the rope was nothing. Like Crane's strength meant nothing. Crane stumbled back as Steven rose. Because the rope tied around Steven's neck was suddenly not tied at all. Steven lifted his hands, freed himself from the rope with a single deliberate motion. The diner gasped. Even the gang froze for a second. Steven stood tall, dark eyes settling on Crane. You put a rope on the wrong neck. Crane stepped back, his voice shaking now despite his attempt to hide it. You should be on the ground. You should be unconscious. What kind of man are you? Steven took 1 step forward. Crane took 1 back. Steven's voice dropped lower, a deep, cold whisper that froze every heart in that diner. You think you're strong because you hold a rope. You think you're powerful because people fear you. But power without control is nothing, and fear without respect is weakness. Now I'm going to teach you a lesson, one you will never forget. Crane's gang tightened their fists, took defensive positions, ready to jump Steven all at once. Crane lifted a hand. No, let me do it. I'll break him myself. I'll beat him in front of everyone here. No old man scares me. Not ever. He lunged, swinging the rope like a whip, aiming for Steven's throat again. Steven didn't move. The rope came fast. High, dangerous. Then in a blur, Steven's hand shot up, caught the rope midair, wrapped it around his own wrist, yanked it once. Crane stumbled forward right into Steven's knee. The sound echoed. Crane screamed, dropped to 1 knee in pain. The gang rushed forward. Steven's voice cut through the air. Stop where you are. You move and you break. Every one of you. They froze, fear rooting them to the floor. Crane gasped. Don't listen to him. He's bluffing. He's nothing. Get him. Get him. But Steven already stepped forward, towering over the gang leader. You put a rope around my neck. You tried to strangle me. Now you will feel what it means to face someone who doesn't fear pain. Someone you will never overpower. Not with rope. Not with fists. Not with numbers. Crane crawled back, trying to retreat, trying to regain ground. But Steven grabbed the rope. The same rope Crane used, wrapped it around his forearm, and pulled Crane toward him like he weighed nothing. Crane panicked, swinging wildly, missing every strike. Steven blocked each hit. Effortless, fluid, untouched. The gang watched, terrified, unsure if they should help him or run. Emma whispered, "Oh my God, he's destroying him." Without even fighting, Steven raised the rope. Not to choke, not to hurt, not yet. He showed Crane the rope, showed him the symbol of his arrogance. This rope is the source of your power, your intimidation, your fear, your control. But in the hands of the wrong man, it becomes your downfall. Crane shook his head. No, no, and no. Stay away from me. Stay away. Steven stepped forward and Crane, Riverstone's toughest gang leader, scrambled backward across the floor, crawling, crying. Steven's voice dropped even lower. You wanted a challenge. You wanted someone to fight you, someone to fear you. Now face the reality. You chose the wrong man to strangle. Steven clenched the rope. And the real fight, the real brutal lesson was about to begin. Crane's boots scraped desperately against the diner floor as he tried to pull himself backward away from Steven Seagal. The same man he had tried to strangle moments earlier. The same man he thought would collapse in his hands. The same man he now realized he never should have touched. The Silver Owl Diner had never felt so silent. Even the rain outside seemed to pause as the tension pressed into the walls. The lights flickering slightly as if the electricity could sense the violence waiting to erupt. Steven stood there calm, still unshaken. The rope loosely wrapped around his hand, his eyes fixed on Crane with a cold, unblinking focus that made the gang leader's heart pound like a trap drum. Crane sputtered breathlessly. You don't scare me. You hear me? You don't scare me. I run this town. You're nothing but a big guy who drinks coffee alone. Steven tilted his head slightly. Not mocking, not amused, simply measuring the man crawling at his feet. You mistake solitude for weakness. And your mistake is about to cost you more than you understand. Crane tried to stand. His knees shook. He managed to rise halfway before Steven pulled the rope lightly, and the small tug alone sent Crane back to the floor. Tristan, the second in command, stepped forward, his fists shaking, trying to regain the dominance he usually carried, trying to pretend he wasn't terrified. "Boss, say the word. I'll take him out right now. No one humiliates us like this. No one makes the Black Talons look weak, especially not some washed-up martial arts actor." Steven didn't even turn to look at him, but his voice cut through Tristan like a blade through paper. "You take one step, and you leave this diner on the ground. Your choice. Make it carefully." Tristan's foot froze mid-lift. He slowly set it back down. Fear replacing fury. Emma, the waitress, stood behind the counter shaking so hard she could barely hold the phone. Her eyes on Steven, on Crane, on the gang, she whispered, "This is bad. This is so bad. Someone is going to get hurt." But she was wrong. Someone was going to get destroyed. Crane pushed himself up again, this time fueled by humiliation more than rage. He roared, "You think you're better than me? You think you can scare me? You think you can stand here and talk like you're some kind of legend? But I'm Crane. I built this gang. This town fears me. Everyone fears me. And when I'm done with you, they will fear me even more. Give me that damn rope back. I'll finish what I started." Steven lifted the rope, letting it dangle from his hand. A silent reminder. A silent threat. A silent warning. "No, you won't." Crane lunged again. This time, full speed, swinging his fists wildly, trying to grab the rope, trying to reclaim control, trying to show his gang he wasn't afraid. Steven didn't move until the last second. Then, all at once, the calm dissolved into motion. He sidestepped, grabbed Crane's forearm, twisted. A crunch filled the diner. Crane screamed, dropping to one knee again. His arm bent backward unnaturally. The whole diner winced. The gang froze. Steven didn't let go. He leaned down beside Crane's ear. Voice calm, quiet, terrifying. "You should never put a rope around a man's neck unless you are certain he cannot stand up again. And you were wrong." Crane swung his free arm backward, trying to strike Steven in the ribs. Steven blocked with one hand, then delivered a palm strike to Crane's sternum that sent him sliding backward across the floor. Crane's gang reacted instantly. Tristan yelled, "Everyone, get him now. Take him down. All at once, go." The remaining 4 gang members charged towards Steven from every direction. Boots pounding, hands clenched, hearts racing. The diners ducked behind tables. Emma hid behind the counter. The chef grabbed a frying pan and crouched. The fight exploded like lightning. The first gang member reached Steven's left side, swinging a heavy chain. Steven caught the chain midair, twisted it, and pulled, sending the man crashing into a table so hard the plates shattered on impact. The second man jumped from behind, trying to choke Steven with both arms. Steven leaned forward slightly, grabbing him by the wrist and hip. A smooth, simple, effortless movement. He flipped the man over his shoulder. The man crashed onto the floor so hard the sound shook the windows. The third man ran forward with a knife, a cheap folding blade. Shaking in his hand, he slashed towards Steven's ribs. Steven sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and squeezed. The knife dropped instantly. The man screamed, falling to his knees, clutching his crushed hand. The fourth man swung a bar stool, the heavy metal seat arcing towards Steven's head. Steven ducked, grabbed the leg mid-swing, used the man's own momentum, and swung him halfway around. The man slammed into the jukebox, cracking the glass. And then everything stopped except for Crane. The gang leader pushed himself to his feet, breathing ragged, blood dripping from his lip, rage burning through the humiliation. He pointed at Steven, screaming with everything left in his lungs. "I'm not done. I'm not beaten. I'm not afraid of you. I'm finishing this." Steven loosened the rope in his hand, let it fall to the floor, then stepped forward. "You can't finish a fight. You never understood. You only know how to begin one. So, let me show you how a real fight ends." Crane roared, charging again. The sound primal, desperate, fueled by fear more than fury. He threw a punch. Steven stepped aside. Crane missed, stumbled. Steven struck his ribs. Crane gasped, dropped, pushed up again. Steven struck his thigh. Crane collapsed on one knee, eyes rolling from pain. He fought again, swung wildly. Too slow, too unfocused, too desperate. Steven blocked, countered, moved with smooth, deadly rhythm. Every hit precise, every movement controlled, every strike a lesson carved into Crane's bones. Emma whispered from behind the counter. He's not fighting. He's teaching. He's teaching him the pain he gave everyone else. Crane tried one last punch. One last attempt. One last shred of pride. Steven caught his fist, held it, stared into Crane's eyes. You learn nothing. So now you learn everything. He twisted Crane's wrist, pulled him forward, kneed him in the stomach. Crane collapsed, gasping, drooling, whimpering. The diner shook with silence. A silence heavier than the fight. A silence filled with fear and awe. Crane tried to lift his head, barely speaking. You broke my gang. You broke me, but I won't beg. I won't. Steven stepped closer. Towering, dark, calm. You don't need to beg. You need to understand. Power is not taken by rope or rage or fear. Power is earned through discipline, through respect, through restraint. 3 things you never learned. Crane's eyes filled with tears. Whether from pain or realization, no one could tell. Steven gently nudged the rope toward him with his boot. This rope was your weapon, your identity, your control. But in the hands of the wrong man, it becomes only a reminder of weakness. And you are finally meeting yours. Crane reached for the rope, hands trembling, lifting it slowly, realizing this weapon, this threat, this symbol had just been dismantled, defeated, rendered powerless by the one man he never should have touched. The sirens outside began to wail. Police speeding toward the diner. Someone must have called them. Maybe the chef. Maybe a customer. Maybe Emma. Crane used the last of his breath to whisper. This isn't over. Steven leaned close, voice soft. Final. It already is. You just don't know it yet. The police lights flashed through the diner windows. Red and blue merging with the neon glow as the doors burst open. Officers rushing inside, and Crane leader of the Black Talons. The man who ruled Riverstone with fear collapsed face down. Hands spread, broken, breathing hard, his rope beside him like a discarded lie. The officers froze seeing the chaos, the broken tables, the fallen gang members. Then seeing Steven Seagal standing there, calm, quiet, untouched. One officer stepped forward. Mr. Seagal, what the hell happened here? Steven looked at Crane, then at the officers. He made the mistake of thinking he could choke the wrong man. And the mistake corrected itself. The officers exchanged looks, and the real consequences were only seconds away. The police officers rushed deeper into the diner, their hands hovering near their holsters, but not drawing because the scene before them was already clear. Broken stools, shattered plates, groaning gang members crawling on the floor. The overturned jukebox cracked, but still glowing faint neon. And in the center of it all stood Steven Seagal, silent as a mountain, breathing, slow, steady, composed. The officers knew who he was. Everyone knew who he was. They also knew what it meant when a man like him stood untouched in a room full of battered criminals. This wasn't assault. This was survival. This was self-defense. This was justice making its own entrance before the law had time to arrive. Officer Ramos, the senior cop, approached carefully, boots crunching lightly on broken glass. Mr. Seagal, what exactly happened here? Steven looked down at Crane, who lay face down, breathing like each inhale cut into his ribs. Crane didn't move except to groan in agony. The rope rested beside his limp hand. Lifeless, meaningless, powerless. Steven spoke calmly. He attacked me. Then his gang joined. I protected myself and everyone in this diner. Ramos nodded once. He believed every word. The evidence was already all over the room. Gang weapons, a broken chain, a folding knife, a bar stool used as a weapon, and witnesses. Lots of witnesses. He gestured around the diner. Every customer was nodding. Every customer had something to say. Every customer had the same story. Emma stepped out from behind the counter, her voice steady, but filled with trembling anger. Officer. They came in here drunk and violent. They threatened him. They blocked the doors. They tried to strangle him. He didn't start anything. He saved all of us. If Steven wasn't here, we'd all be dead or hurt or worse. Chef Dalton wiped sweat from his forehead. He lifted the frying pan he had been holding. I saw the whole thing. These men were going to kill him and maybe the rest of us. They deserved everything they got. Everything. If anything. Steven went easy on them. Other customers chimed in. He stopped them. He saved us. He defended himself. That gang terrorizes this town all the time. They finally picked the wrong man. Officer Ramos turned back to Crane. So, you want to stick with your story that he attacked you unprovoked? All 6 of you. While you were just having a nice dinner, Crane opened his mouth, but no words came. The truth, the room, the eyes, the reality, crushed any lie before it could leave his lips. He collapsed into a miserable sob. All pride gone. Ramos shook his head, put them in cuffs. All of them. Charges include aggravated assault, attempted strangulation, attempted murder, weapons, possession, disorderly conduct, and gang intimidation. And that's just the beginning. The officers moved in. Handcuffs clicked one by one. The gang members were lifted, dragged, or carried out of the diner. Crane resisted, but only with words. Weak ones, broken ones. This isn't over. You'll regret this. You think this town loves you. They fear us. They always will. Steven stepped toward him. Crane froze, eyes widening, fear replacing bravado. Steven whispered, low, calm, final. No, they feared you. Until tonight. Tonight they saw the truth. Fear without respect collapses. And you collapsed. Crane's breath shook. He looked like a man whose world had cracked. Not from Steven's strikes, but from the realization that his era of intimidation had ended. The officers carried him out, his gang following, every step echoing defeat. When the doors shut, silence settled over the diner again. But this silence felt different. Lighter, safer, free. Emma approached Steven with watery eyes. Mr. Seagal, I don't know how to thank you. Those guys, they've been tormenting this town for years. The police could never catch them in the act. But tonight, you stopped them. You really stopped them. Steven nodded slowly. I didn't come here to fight. I just wanted coffee and peace. But sometimes violence finds you. And when it does, you act to protect others, not yourself. Dalton the chef leaned on the counter. Those boys are done. The sheriff's office will bury them in charges. They won't see the streets for years. And even if they do, they won't come back here. Steven lifted his mug, took a slow sip. The coffee was cold, but peaceful, calm, balanced. The diner lights brightened again. The hum returned. The rain outside softened. Emma laughed shakily. You know, your coffee is on the house for life. Every cup, every visit. Because as far as I'm concerned, you saved this diner. You saved us. Steven nodded lightly. Thank you. But I didn't do it for the coffee. The customers slowly emerged from behind their tables, checking the windows for the flashing lights, making sure the gang was really gone. They approached Steven one by one, thanking him, shaking his hand, nodding respectfully, telling him stories of how Crane's gang had terrorized them for months, years, lifetimes. An elderly man with a cane spoke quietly. That rope he carries. He used it on my grandson once, scared the boy half to death, told him he'd squeeze the life out of him. My family left Riverstone for months because of that tonight. You gave us courage to come home again. Steven listened, but his expression stayed calm. Soft, respectful. Officer Ramos returned, his boots wet from the rain, his voice steady. The sheriff wants to thank you personally tomorrow. For now, you're free to go. We filed the preliminary report, and every witness backs your account. Those boys won't be released anytime soon. You have nothing to worry about. Steven nodded. Good. Keep the town safe. They deserve peace. Ramos smiled. We'll do our best. But if trouble comes back, seems we know who to call. Steven picked up his coat, gave Emma a gentle nod, tossed a few bills on the counter. She tried to refuse. He insisted. Then he walked toward the door and stepped into the cool rain, the town dark. Quiet, safe again. He walked down the street, past shuttered shops, past flickering street lamps, past the shadows where fear once lived. Behind him, the diner door swung slowly shut. Inside, people talked, laughed nervously, held on to hope. Outside, Steven walked calmly toward the night. A tall, quiet figure, unshaken, unbroken, a man who did not seek violence, but ended it whenever it dared reach for him. He disappeared beyond the corner, the rain falling gently around him, the town whispering his name like a legend reborn. And somewhere in the back of a police car, hands cuffed, face swollen, spirit shattered, Crane stared at the rope in his lap, a symbol no longer of power, but of the night. He put it around the wrong neck and lost everything.